behalf of Manhattan College and our Holocaust, Genocide, and Interfaith Education Center, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this special occasion tonight marking the opening of the Herman and Lea Ziering archival collection. Let me first say how honored and humbled we are to be partnering with the Ziering family in presenting this exhibit of extraordinary archival material. The exhibit reminds us vividly both of the evil which human beings are capable of, whether through their actions or through their failure to act, and also, and more importantly, of the strength of the human spirit in resisting evil, in working for justice, in saying no to the forces that seek to gain power by dividing, degrading, and destroying others. In mounting this exhibit of remembrance and affirmation, our colleagues in the Holocaust, Genocide, and Interfaith Education Center are exemplifying values that are central to our college's mission. As a Lasallian Catholic College, we are deeply committed to teaching and learning that seeks to liberate students from the strictures of ignorance and the fear and the prejudice that ignorance breeds, and to direct them to use that freedom to contribute to the common good of all, and especially to those who are regarded for whatever reason as on the margin, outside the bounds, or beyond the pale. Our mission, to promote excellence in education grounded in respect for the irreducible dignity of the human person and distinguished by a commitment to inclusive community and a passion for social justice, is what called us as an institution in 1996 to establish what at that time was called the Holocaust Resource Center. And it is that mission that has inspired us more recently in the growth and expansion of that center to today's Holocaust, Genocide, and Interfaith Education Center. We are so grateful to the Zierings for entrusting to us these precious artifacts, which provide our community, and through us, provide the larger community with access to objects, words, and images that tell a story that we must never forget. The contents of these rooms help to communicate powerfully to the next generation and beyond, lessons on which we can and we must draw, allowing us better to recognize and, more importantly, to resist the many forms that hatred continues to take in our world. Again, our profound thanks to the Zierings, our thanks to Professor Afridi and everyone who has played a role in mounting this jewel of an exhibition. Welcome to all.
Hi, my name is Debby Ziering. I'm the eldest daughter of Herman and Lea. Thank you all so much for coming. Many survivors, understandably, try to forget the trauma of the Holocaust. For my dad, Herman Ziering, the Holocaust was an obsession. A survivor himself, he spent his time mostly with friends who were also survivors. In order to educate people, he frequently spoke about the Holocaust. He worked fervently with other survivors to record the story of his experiences in the Riga ghetto. He also worked on a book about his personal Holocaust story. In the 1970s, my dad tracked down former Nazis living in the United States in order to bring them to justice. He worked very closely with Abe Foxman, former head of the ADL, who's here tonight.
Where is he? Abe? Okay.
My mother, Lea Ziering, was also a Holocaust survivor, but unlike my father, she didn't reveal much about her wartime experiences. Perhaps it was because, as a child, fleeing from the Nazis, she had to assume many different identities, so it was just too painful for her to talk about it. What my parents did have in common was that they both experienced great suffering as children because they were Jewish. As a result, Jewish continuity and family were very important to them, as was never forgetting what they had witnessed about how cruel people can be. They knew it was a choice to live a loving and caring life, and that was the choice they made. They focused their energy on helping others. After my parents passed away, my sister Mia and I were faced with the monumental task of emptying their house. I say monumental because my dad was a collector. We found bills, coins, and jewelry squirreled away. He was always prepared in case history repeated itself, and he had to flee. Dad knew times like these existed. For example, during the war, he had bartered some milk and butter in order to save his brother's lives. We had found boxes and boxes of documents about his Nazi hunting and an extensive Holocaust library. The library consisted of books written in English, German, and Russian. Some were no longer in print and couldn't be found online or in bookstores easily. Many were written by Nazi sympathizers. There didn't seem to be any point in keeping countless books on the Holocaust, but I knew they were important to my father, so I decided to find a home for them. My first thought was to call Jewish nonprofits and museums. Everyone I spoke to said they would be happy to take them. They said they'd hold on to them and pack them away for safekeeping. I didn't hear my father's passion in that response, so I decided to keep looking. I sent emails to colleges in the New York area, continuing to believe that there was a like-minded spirit to that of my father, someone passionate about Holocaust education and who cared about inspiring others to fight for justice. This time, I received only one response to my inquiries. It was from Dr. Mehnaz Afridi, director of the Holocaust, Genocide, and Interfaith Education Center of Manhattan College. Never would I have expected to find my father's passionate, like-minded spirit in a Muslim woman at a Catholic college. But that is exactly what happened. At our first meeting, Dr. Afridi opened up one of my father's books, and her eyes lit up. She looked at me and said, "You don't know what you have here." And I saw a spark in her eye. Later, I mentioned I had several boxes of my dad's documents related to Nazi hunting, and I saw that spark again. When I brought her the documents, her eyes lit up, and she said, "You really don't know what you have here." Dr. Afridi and I kept in touch. She invited me to lunch. She asked me about my family stories and listened intently. Then, Dr. Alan Richards started joining us for lunch. He also asked me about my family stories and listened intently. Never have I felt so interesting. Over time, a bond between us formed that I hadn't expected. I would never have expected my parents' possessions to find their home in a Lasallian college, but after learning about Lasallian values, which include respect for all people, creating an inclusive community, and concern for social justice, I couldn't imagine a better place. Here, professors and students are well aware that the Holocaust is not just a Jewish story, but a human story, one that is important to grapple with and learn from. The center makes history come alive through my family's personal story. allowing students to learn and be inspired, to stop prejudice, think critically, and act courageously, as it says just outside the archive door. Dr. Afridi and I, a Muslim and a Jew, have developed a close relationship. We've worked together with a collective vision of doing what we can to stop anti-Semitism, genocide, and human rights violations. What I've ultimately learned is to change my expectations. Reaching out to others is how you find passionate partnerships to make the world a better place. Thank you to all my friends and family who've come from far and near to honor my parents. Many people have worked very hard in making the center come to fruition. Dr. Afridi, I can't thank you enough for answering my first email and for taking the time to learn my family's story. I know you've poured your heart and your soul into this project, and it means so much to me and my family. Your passion in making a difference in your students' lives and in the world are clear. The world is a better place thanks to you. Thanks to Dr. Alan Richard, who flew to New York from Texas every summer to help Dr. Afridi. Although Alan was here only in the summers, his knowledge about this project and my family's story is extensive. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you to Dr. Jill Vexler, our curator, who did an amazing job weeding through the boxes of materials and displayed them so artfully while telling my family's story. Ireland Twiggs, Dr. Afridi's assistant, thank you for all your help. Finally, I'd like to thank the administration at Manhattan College for the resources, courage, and leadership to create this archive at their school.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz, and it is my honor to represent this wonderful institution, Manhattan College, in our neighborhood here. And the list of things that Manhattan College does is endless, but this is particularly meaningful. It wasn't so many years ago that at least I thought the world was really heading to a better place where people would get along, where religious hatred would be slowly but surely disappearing. Well, we were wrong. We were wrong. In the past many years, not only anti-Semitism, but all kinds of religious hatred has been on the increase. And you know, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, frankly, are two sides of the same coin as far as I'm concerned. So it is so important that we recognize what is happening throughout the world. Europe, arguably the birthplace of anti-Semitism, we've seen what's been going on there in recent years, but right here in our own country, especially in the last few years, we have seen the increase in attacks, aimed particularly at the Jewish community, but in general. So it is so important, the work that's done here, to try to create greater understanding among people. And I am so grateful to Manhattan College and to your leadership, to your family, and of course to Dr. Afridi. The work that she does is amazing, it's incredible, and she is really doing God's work. And I, for one, am so proud to know her, to consider her a friend, and doing this here, where we're shaping the minds of young people, I think is doubly important, because in this day and age, it is important that people understand that the Holocaust happened, that that other things that we know took place are for real, when people are denying things like that. So I just want to say that bringing everybody together. As you said, a Catholic institution with a Muslim person running this wonderful center, especially focused on anti-Semitism, I think is really an amazing thing. But hatred comes in all forms. It's not just anti-Semitism, it's not just Islamophobia, but in so many ways, and we've seen what's happening in our own country. So we have to be vigilant, and I think everybody here understands the importance of this. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming this evening in this very cold weather. But it didn't snow, so at least in this part, right? I think there was snowing in Connecticut. So, I want to thank everyone for thanking me, but I would like to honor a few people tonight and talk about why I wanted to work on Herman Ziering and the Ziering archive itself. Tonight, we are also commemorating Kristallnacht with Abe Foxman as our Frederick Schweitzer lecturer. And we are also honoring Martin Spett, who was a close friend of the center from before I was there with Jeff Horn and Fred Schweitzer. And his artwork can be viewed as you walk in, where one of my docents is standing there. But there's so many people to honor, like Martin Spett, who passed away on October 20th. He was a good friend. We were in touch. But he was a person who really believed in something like the center is doing. He believed that through his art, through his education, the numerous lectures and classes he went to, even when he was ill, meant the world to students and people. He did something with art that is indescribable, because the Holocaust indeed was indescribable. I also want to honor Frederick Schweitzer, the founder of the center, who's right here, who opened it up.
From an acorn, behold this oak.
And the center was started in 1996 with brother Peter Drake. I also want to thank Dr. Jeff Horn, who was the director before me, and he fought really hard that the community, the nation, the college should trust a Muslim woman, and I commend you for that, Jeff. And Abe Foxman, who is sitting over there, is this wonderful human being that I've gotten to know. But for a night like tonight and for the center, he spent his whole life fighting hatred, not just anti-Semitism, but hatred and racism. He had an organization for 37 years that its own mission is to help not just Jews, but people of all faiths and races. And the ADL is one of the largest and the oldest organization in the United States. And if you look at the history, it's really fascinating. I'm not telling you to read the archives, but you should read the history of ADL. And Debby Ziering, Lea, and Mark, who's now back in Israel, he was here last week. I just want to thank you for trusting me, a Muslim woman, and this institution that I really love a lot. And here is what I want to say finally. Herman Ziering, when he was younger, in 1937, 1 year before Kristallnacht, went to see a movie. So at that time, you were to wear a Jewish star as a young child, as a Jew. And he took off that star, and he went and queued up in line to watch a movie called Jew Suisse, which was a movie that was distorted about who Jews are. So this movie talked about how Jews were diseased, how to stay away from them, how they were controlling. But Herman was so curious at that age, and he was so brave to take off his Jewish star and stand in that line And he would even make jokes like, yeah, it smells like garlic, there must be a Jew in line, which was something that was said quite frequently. And he went and saw that film. And you know why he went and saw that film? Because he wanted to make sure he was not like those Jews that were being portrayed. This is what racism does to people. This is what anti-Semitism does to people. We start to believe that we are the terrorists, that we are the controllers. And he, as a child, was curious about himself. And he came out saying, I'm not like those people these people think I am. And that took courage. And he never lost his courage. And he never lost the fact that he wanted to bring people to justice. And that's why we have a whole display on Nazi hunting. That's why we have a display on rescue stories. Because Muslims and Catholics laid down their lives to save Jews. That is a story that needs to be told over and over again. That's why we have a letter from Churchill from 1943, written to Lady Reading, which states that, sorry man, there's nothing we can do. But you know what? We know what happened then. If we had done something in 1943, it would have saved 2.3 million lives. So what are we going to do, my friends? And lastly, students, you're here, some of you. Thank you for being here. You are our future. This is work and hard work that I really sincerely only do for you. And inshallah, you will be a star and stop this kind of racism because it's here and now. And you must learn how to be brave in the world. Thank you. To invite everyone to come and visit the exhibit. If you can do it slowly, and please have something to eat. We will be starting to go downstairs from the elevator to the alumni room, where we have a Kristallnacht commemoration. Floor 1, by the way, all the way downstairs. And we have Rabbi Katz, who will lead us with that commemoration. And I really want to thank him for bringing and partnering with us tonight, because the conservative synagogue was also Martin Spett's synagogue. It's a place that I feel at home, that I've frequented many times. So I invite you to do that, and we will have Dr. Jeff Horn, who will introduce Abe Foxman and also talk about the Schweitzer lecture and why that's so important for us. So when you're done to the exhibit, we will start at 7 o'clock downstairs. And can I see all the docents for a second? Thank you. Thank you.
How are you?